Ladies and gentlemen, this is JoeJinMovieSoAwesome. I'm Joe.
I'm One Jin.
We're going to break down House of the Dragon Season 1, Episode 5 today. Spoilers ahead.
Spoilers alert. Spoilers.
You know, I watched this episode 2 times, One Jin.
Really?
And the impression I got afterwards, and I know you agree, is how the portrayal of men and women are fascinating here. Men as idealistic, even the smart ones. There are a lot of dreamers here, but a lot of women here are much more realistic. We get an extreme version of that in Criston Cole. You know, in the past podcast, I have to admit I was completely wrong about his motivations because we're
thinking that this guy's climbing a ladder.
No, but it turns out he is a rural poor guy. Except he was really like naive
and innocent,
and
pure,
fish out of a. Not just pure, but it was a very sympathetic view of masculinity. Because his conversation with Rhaenyra was interesting because he mentions the honor thing.
That's right.
It's
you can truly see that he took the oath very seriously, and he was under tremendous guilt breaking it.
But you could also argue that there's a question mark over whether he really does love Rhaenyra. Or is this some kind of a wrong sense of masculine honor thing going on against reality? Because and the camera cuts to Rhaenyra. She does think about it for 3 seconds though, which was interesting. I mean, but we kind of expected her to say, "That's ridiculous. What are you talking about?" That's basically how she's saying politely, and we see him break down, because. And the scene made sense for me because they had foreshadowed it, but not what we intended. Because remember in the hunting scene, we see him they won't have a choice, my queen and my princess, and we get a view of how a common folk would think about it. But he it turns out he just has no grasp of the political reality around him. He was a real white cloak guy who grew up in 14th century French chivalry novels, romance novels of the male variety.
A true knight fighting battles.
And I love the fact that it's how most of those scenes in the old movies would have been a prince dismissing a Cinderella type. But here, the Cinderella...
The role has changed. It's been reversed.
Yeah. And I have to give credit to the creators here, but last podcast I failed to see it, but I kind of saw it as a dark version of Aladdin, like an old fable where the princess gets out of the castle and meets his love, but in House of the Dragon, you get fucked by your uncle almost. So it's like the darker version of it, and here we see that again. And most fables doesn't show us the psychological consequences of that, but this one shows that, but we're going to talk about that later. Yeah, go ahead.
One thing I need to mention first is that we get more information on Otto Hightower's intentions.
I
love the conversation
scene
he had with the Queen.
I agree.
Alicent. And based on what he says to Alicent, we now see we get a bit of a more clear view on what his thoughts and what his intentions had been. And in a sense, I got this impression that he was kind of like Varys. He was trying to be realistic, and he was trying to do what's right for the greater good. And it just so happens to align with his own self-interest as well.
And that's really beautiful. He's like a tender version of Tywin. I love that they had that tender moment.
Yeah.
Because when the queen says, "If you haven't pushed Aegon so far," if it was Tywin, he would have said, "Who the fuck you talking to, bitch? I raised you, bitch." But here we see the hand. Instead of he's a really smart man. Instead of answering that, he tells her, "I love you," in his own language.
Yeah.
But you know what his problem is though? I agree with you that his perspective may be the right one, but that's not some kind of absolute truth, because he already concluded the most cynical conclusion.
That's true.
He could have said, it doesn't have to be this way, but that never occurs to him. He says it as an absolute fact, but it's not. Like, because it just shows his, like, a real politic view, just like Tywin. Because Tywin assumes the worst, right?
That's true.
So remember in Game of Thrones Season 2, what does he do? Because he assumes the worst, he says to the mountain, burn the Riverlands. He's already thinking about the nuclear option. No mercy, kill them all. And then, you know, in the end, he plans the marriage here. But I do like how the fathers here, all three fathers, we're going to talk about it, the king, and Corlys Velaryon, my man! And then they handed the king, because Corlys Velaryon is, the funniest line is, he's going to grow out of being a homosexual. He's going to grow out of it. Like, and then we see how proud men are blind in one eye.
It's kind of like, I'm gonna slap the gayness out of him. Don't worry.
Yeah,
I was like, I was getting this American Beauty moment.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, that's not gonna work.
And then
no matter how many times you deny it.
And then their couple moment, we do see Rhaenys is the actual realist here. She immediately points out that, first of all, our son is homosexual. So
he's in danger. We're putting him in danger.
And then we're in danger. But Corlys, it shows his character, though. You know what I like about him? He's regal. I think the actor is really tall.
Yeah.
So when he was sitting in the throne, I was like, who the fuck is the king here? And then... And
I love that power play. And I also love the fact that Viserys, he wasn't too bothered about it. He's like, I'm here to get things done. I don't care about this shit. I don't have time to fiddle with this shit. Let's get it done.
But I love their negotiation too. It was such a kingly conversation. And Velaryon choosing his words wisely, but always with a... Why are you laughing?
Because there was that scene during the negotiation that made me laugh. Like the moment Viserys says that, yes, they would be Velaryon, but the moment they rise to the Iron Throne, the children will bear the name Targaryen. And then you can see the sea snake. He's kind of like frowning. You can see that he's contemplating these options, and he's kind of like has this frowning face. And Rhaenys is
Rhaenys.
Right next to him. You can see that she's smiling because she's a Targaryen. She's like, yeah, fuck yeah, cousin.
Yeah, you make a good point, because you have to point out Viserys' counter first, and then. Because when Viserys says, "Are you saying a princess shouldn't be a queen?" Because that's mentioning Rhaenys' history.
Yeah,
your wife was maybe could have been queen, and
she's my heir.
Yeah, Targaryen. And Rhaenys smiles and approaches the negotiation table, and
that was a very subtle touch. It was very good.
No, and then I also love Larys. Lionel Strong here. A loyal hand. We get to show, like, Viserys is, despite some of his flaws, he's really good at choosing his advisors. Because you could argue that he was right to choose Otto Hightower.
That's right.
And then after he fired him, which you could argue was the wrong choice or the right choice, whatever, but he also chose another right person for the job.
And throughout the episode, we've seen that Lionel was very good at giving unfettered advice, as Viserys puts it. Yeah,
because his scene with Viserys was really good. When Viserys comes back and he asks a question that no subordinate really wants to answer, was I a good king? But I love Lionel Strong, how he smartly says the right thing while being honest, like Otto Hightower. Like, if I was tested, I would be like Aegon. And he's like, well, people who will be tested don't want that. And Viserys is like, hey, somebody else might have said I would have, but that's not what I meant, sir. And then, like, I love how Lionel doesn't hold back.
Under the right circumstances, I would have been forged a different man.
No, but that's such a... every episode so far, we get an internal thought process of Viserys. More than any other character, by the way, which is fascinating.
Because we've never had this connection with the king in Game of Thrones.
Well, we did have some with Robert, though. Because I think Robert had actually like a similar amount. Because it shows his flaw. He slaps Cersei. They laugh about their marriage keeping the realm together. And Robert confesses a lot to Ned. I was never meant to be a king, blah, blah, blah. But here, the difference is Viserys is being torn apart. And then I feel like the Maester is up to no fucking good. Because his second keeps giving him an alternative cure, but the Maester brushes off.
Yeah, he said the leeches always worked. And blah,
are you
blah,
sure?
blah.
We've been watching you guys for years, and we are seeing that decay. Why isn't the king saying anything? He should have grabbed his hand. Are you sure it works, motherfucker? Are you sure? You've been leeching me for 5 years. Ain't shit working, dog. Like I would have been like a little bit frustrated.
Look at my back. Look at my arm.
Do you see the leeches working, bitch? Like, cause I was
the fuck is this?
I was surprised that no one mentions that. No, but another thing we can't fail to mention is the Larry Strong. He's a weird character. He whispers to the queen. I feel like he's like I feel like he's a Joker kind of character now, because him aligning with the queen is against his father's interest. When his father supported Rhaenyra to marry the Velaryon, so I my guess is he's like a psycho version of Tyrion. Remember that Tyrion speech in the trial? He said, "I wish you all died." Like Tyrion was just saying that because he was pissed off. But I feel like this Larry Strong guy is actually like that. Like he's a disabled guy. Remember, we have to watch the Second Sons. He's the second son, I think. His brother is the tough guy. I feel like he's like a hater, like because, like chaos for chaos sake kind of guy. Because you get that vibe like, what? How does this benefit your house? Your father is the hand, and your father is supporting Rhaenyra's succession, like at least outwardly.
So we can kind of tell that this guy is a very different character from what we've seen so far.
Of the Strong family, or the whole family. Yeah, he's
creepy.
Ambiguous, because you could argue that Damon is the fucking wife murderer. It reminded me a lot of Brad Pitt in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, because
that killer vibe with the smile.
Yeah, because Brad Pitt, we don't know what he's thinking in the movie, and
also we get no information what exactly happened with him and his wife. We just hear the rumors.
Yeah, and then and the surprising thing about the bronze quote unquote bitch is she seems like a lovely lady actually.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I kind of got this Yara vibe from Game of Thrones.
Oh, that's so good.
Like a female warrior kind of person.
Yeah.
She just needs kinder words.
Yeah. The showrunner was so smart to show us that every character here has their own perspective about things, but they're actually not necessarily the entire truth. Because it feels like, hey, is it just me or does Damon has a problem with powerful women? Like, if you think about it, Rhaenyra says, we're going to talk about that later, but Rhaenyra isn't under Damon's control, obviously. And he's just like, you could tell that this bronze quote-unquote bitch knows Damon very well. And then the punchline was, I knew you couldn't finish. Like, she knows that his pee-pee doesn't work. and then he grabs with to compensate, I guess. So
we can clearly see that it might be an overcompensation.
And you know what's so similar? This is similar with episode 3, because remember, Damon has like no line after he receives his brother's letter and kills the crab feeder. But here, he also has no dialogue and no music even.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that's like
maybe it's intentional.
Yeah, intentionally to make us feel mixed feelings about him. Because, this show is... Game of Thrones have always been about showing the explicit violence, but it's a really interesting choice to not show it. I guess it could either be the creators trying to make us not hate him, because if I would have saw that head bashing, I would have a clear view of what kind of man Damon is. Because
we can tell that it's not because of the violence we see from the screen, because in the end of the episode we practically see a man's head bashed in. They visually show us that scene. So why not show Damon crushing the skull?
This is my theory. I think The creators want us, the audience, to look at Damon the way the other characters do. Because he's a mystery. One of the scary part about him is we don't know what he's gonna do, right? And by limiting our information about him, I think they're trying to make us feel about Damon the way other people do.
Okay, that could work.
Maybe that's just my
And we can also see throughout the entire dinner, King Viserys is very concerned and anxious with Damon's arrival.
And
he just keeps checking on him. It's like, what the fuck is he up to? What the fuck is he up to?
And Wonjin, it was completely justified. I love how he approaches Rhaenyra, and I love Rhaenyra's comeback though. She's not afraid of Damon.
That's right.
Why don't you
murder my dad and take me?
No, murder my king's guard, and then take me, bitch. It's almost like she's like even the stronger version of his ex-wife. He's like, "What's up, pussy?" Like that's what we love about Rhaenyra though. You said it last time. She's a Targaryen. She gives no fucks. Okay, kill me then, bitch. What the fuck's up? Like you can't imagine anybody else talking to Damon that way. But now we have to go to the wedding.
Oh yes. Because before we go to the wedding, we got to talk about the queen a bit.
Oh, right.
We need to talk about Alicent, because after hearing those words from her father, Otto Hightower, yeah, again, I love that conversation. Like the way he starts the conversation with, "Listen, daughter. Listen to me very carefully." So we see, this is kind of like a chessboard, if you think about it. Now she's isolated somewhat, because ever since Aegon was born, she had been the center of all the attention and power. But now that Rhaenyra stays heir, and now she's having her wedding, her position is now somewhat compromised.
Right.
She's being undermined.
Very good point.
And we are curious what her reaction, how she's going to react to this. And now we see that she's getting determined to gather up her own strength and somehow fight back. And we see that from her interrupting Viserys in the middle of his speech.
Before that. The interesting thing about Alicent is she's being forged in this episode too. I think a future version we'll see next episode. Oh
yeah, we forgot with the queen summoned.
Ser that's Criston. What I'm going to say.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting about that scene was Alicent does the same thing as Rhaenyra. You know, Rhaenyra in the last episode when she calls on Criston Cole, she does this. You know what you do that to?
Dogs.
A helper, a subordinate. And Alicent says this. Come sit down next to my bed, like you would a child. And you know what? This show is so brilliant that way. It shows that women in power aren't exactly any better than men, but it also shows Criston Cole's power position. And you know, not Rhaenyra. I think Alicent is a smarter political player than her father. You know why? I love how after Criston Cole being a fucking naive bull,
she gets this very surprising revelation.
No, but she's smart. She doesn't do anything with it.
Yeah.
She says, just go.
Yeah, she sits on the information.
Exactly. Oh, I knew you'd catch that.
Very smart.
Very smart. She doesn't know what to do with it yet, so she's not going to act brashly. Yeah. But she's going to put that in her back pocket.
What did Otto Hightower do the moment he got information? Not even information. It wasn't even accurate. It was like an accusation. He dangles his balls early in the morning to get to King Viserys and break the news.
Yeah. That's a good point. It goes on with our idealistic father thing. I think what happened with the Hand of the King was that he was just a proud grandfather of a grandson with a PP, so he just couldn't handle his enthusiasm. But mothers are more realistic here, and Alicent. That was smart. And back now to the wedding.
Yeah.
The wedding.
She interrupts King Viserys' speech to make her entrance.
No, but the you know what? I love her soundtrack. You know, when I listen to Rhaenyra's soundtrack, you know what it feels like to me? Like a dragon's heartbeat. There's strength, but the heartbeat is kind of like a very loud underwater thing going on. But here, you know, Alicent's soundtrack is much more tragic It's like a female version of Darth Vader music to me. Like without the loud or bass or whatever. There's a tragedy to it when she walks in, but also power and a little bit of revenge. And I love how the Hightowers like, fuck yeah, stand up, and they're like, fuck yeah, that's my niece, And then
the mother to the future king.
Yeah. I love Otto Hightower's older brother. Like he's not like a 3D character like his younger brother, but I like how he's consistent. Because remember in the hunting party, he's like, second of his name, hey, your grace. Oops, did I say that? He's like very clear on his goal. And here, he's a very loyal guy. And I like that about this show. Like it was like that in Game of Thrones. How like each house is like loyal to itself, and we see the family dynamic here. He's like straight out, I was proud of you, niece. You need our back? We got your back, bitch. Fuck yeah. And then
you rocking that green dress.
Yeah, fuck yeah. And then his wife comes all smiling, like such a nice like neighborhood lady. Fuck yeah. We get to see the Hightowers giving the power. No, because I'm glad we got a lot of a different perspective here. But before we talk more about the Queen, I love the entrances, and I keep saying this. I love the Velaryons. Their music was a symbol of pride because they're so regal, and then when they walk in, it's like a whole crew.
There was like the Prince Ali moment in Aladdin.
Clear
the way.
Yeah, and it's clear Rhaenys, the actress, does a phenomenal job here. She is princessly. Her bow, her walk. Just their demeanor, it's like a very you could feel the arrogance, not in a bad way necessarily. And I love how Corlys's brother is always looking like he just choked on a cockroach. It's like fuck whatever, and he's like the pissed off second son. I can't tell if he's like a loyal lieutenant or like
another Damon.
Yeah, another bit like a less drastic version. Because I love the contrast between the elder and the second-born in every family here. Because we see that from the Strongs, we see that from the Velaryons.
We also see that from the Lannisters.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah. Oh, the Thailand. Yeah. Thailand was not that prominent, but it's interesting how their personalities are usually different, and it's usually very political. But here, I love the Velaryons' entrance. You could argue that they are like Targaryen-ish. Like, because I love the young girl now that grew up. What's her name? Lionel.
Something.
Yeah.
Lionel is the son.
Yeah, the future king consort.
Yeah, the 12-year-old or 11-year-old who was speaking to King Viserys.
Yeah, now that they grew up. No, but I love how she's immediately attracted to Damon. There's two angles here. Bad Damon is hot. Damon, fuck yeah, everybody wants to fuck Damon. But secondly, they're both like second children, and I love how like their sexual desire aligns with their political like benefit, because it makes sense for them to power up as well. And that was fascinating. That was very fascinating.
I'm curious where that leads to.
Yeah, I mean, Damon. I think it's like a good alternative for Damon too, politically speaking, because he's further down the succession line, and
I think it's not going to work out.
You think so?
My opinion is that it's not going to work out, because then that would stabilize everything too much surrounding Damon.
No, but like,
I mean, wouldn't that be too secure for him?
No, but as long as Damon, it would make a natural alliance between Damon and Rhaenyra, because both of them will have the support of Velaryon. And from, the Velaryons are obviously powerful. You know how they arrive in King Landing, right? Two dragons,
ships,
all the shit, and the music. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, I thought it was like an invasion. I was like, what the fuck's going on?
Like Stannis would be like I wish I had those dragons too. Yeah, but I wish they showed us a little bit more about the red dragon, because I don't think we ever seen that red one before. I'm not sure if that's Rhaenys. I think it's probably Rhaenys or the daughters. But that was. It's funny how the dragons look alike. Like the blue one and the one. I guess the Velaryon families have the similar dragons. That was interesting. But the wedding was also. Now we're gonna go to the shocking part, right?
Oh yeah, because it was interesting. I was very, very fascinated by the power of observation of these gay dudes.
Oh yeah.
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 It took the queen like a lucky strike and her power to pull out that information from Ser Criston to get his confession. But these two gay dudes, they just found it out. They just immediately find out. It's like, oh, that's the paramour. That's gotta be the dude.
Well, it probably has nothing to do with them being gay. I just think that that guy was smart.
We have a comment from
Do
Rick.
you guys watch episode previews? Oh, thank you, RIK. Thank you for the comment. We'll talk about that later. I watched it. Did you watch it?
No.
Oh shoot.
I never watched the previews.
You don't have to. No.
Because I think it kind of spoils the next episode.
Oh, that makes sense. We might talk about it, RK. Thank you for the comment. But back to those guys. No, but I think it's because that guy is like him from Game of Thrones. That not Lancel, but Renly's boyfriend, the Tyrell guy.
The Marjorie's brother.
Yeah.
I forgot his name.
Yeah. I think the gay dudes, maybe they are more aware of these things.
They're very acute.
I think it's because they grew up in the political environment, probably. But you know what? Hey, I gotta say something though. The first time I watched until like the end, it was amazing. But the second time I watched it, I can't help but notice some flaws in the marriage though. Why the fuck is Criston Cole not wearing his helmet? Is it because the actor is uncomfortable? Like, all your brothers on duty are wearing helmets.
I don't know. The impression I got was that entire thing was cleverly staged by the queen. That's what I thought.
No, that's not the impression I got, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, I just thought the helmet was off because the show creators wanted to make sure we the audience knew Corlys like Velaryon was. Like that. I mean, Criston Cole. No, but how could the queen manage that? Like, she just found out. Like, I think what Criston Cole did is nobody expected it. See, because the queen can't know that the lovers will find out that's a paramour and confront him. So I don't think that's that. But I think the showrunners just wanted us to see his face. But it didn't make any sense because all the other brothers were wearing helmets, and the Kingsguard I think the Kingsguard are really incompetent here. Like, there's a brawl in front of the king.
Watching.
Maybe they need the order of the king or something, but why aren't your swords out? And then why is Viserys not getting angry by the order of the king? Stop or I'll have your tongues. Like, what's going on here? But I did like.
I think we needed like this roadhouse moment where we have a chiller, what they call it. The bouncer. Like, take control of the situation.
No, but there was, because the hand of the king. I like how he looks at his sons like. He knows exactly what he's doing. Like, I think he's a good soldier to his father, because his father, I don't think he's a bad guy. I don't think there was any intention for like whatever. He was just like, okay, take care of this boy. And then he's like, yes, father. Fuck off. No, but like, on second view, it didn't make any sense that, like, how dare they stomp in front of the princess though. I mean, like, the first episode, I think what they did so well, this was like an emotional episode. The tension before the marriage, I think it's not supposed to make logical sense. But like, if I had to nitpick, like, there were some details that you could argue, is that plausible?
And also, if we consider this literature, this would be a very bad omen.
Right.
Something bad is going to happen.
Oh. Yeah, a little bit on the nose, maybe.
On the wedding day, you know, a godfather would say, it's like, you come on my daughter's, the day my daughter's to be married.
And be the guys to death.
And you ask me to take someone's life.
What the fuck am I supposed to do now? Yeah, but anyway, the beating was brutal. And
you could clearly tell that was completely unnecessary.
Oh,
That was
man.
excessive use of force.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
we could clearly see that was emotional.
yeah, because you could argue that that guy, Laenor's boyfriend, was threatening him
Yeah.
because it's like, I know, you know.
And what he didn't know was that Ser Criston was
a complete
yeah,
idiot.
he was in like this emotional turmoil, and he was very unstable at the time.
And not just that, he don't give two fucks about political
right.
shit. He doesn't know that. We now know that he doesn't give a fuck. All he thought about was being a white knight and serving. And here's this little bitch. Hey, I know your secret. Let's keep it together. Like Criston Cole is such a, I mean, he's a sad male stereotype. I would say. I think a lot of men. They wouldn't go to that extreme violence. Would have felt that way about maybe being cheated by a woman.
Yeah, so
and
he was frustrated. He also probably needed somebody to get angry at.
yeah, but like the setup was good because it's interesting how he's powerless in front of both Alicent and Rhaenyra, which means he can't like do anything to them. But here, a fucking asshole just appears out of nowhere.
Yeah, I'm gonna bash your head in.
Yeah. That was I love the setup. It's not perfect, but it was really done well. The music was really good. The chaos following the scene was good.
It was also reminding me of the surprise element we often got from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Because,
I think
Game of Thrones always gave us those like shocking moments, like at the end of the episode, and we all just like sit there, turn off our TV, and just sit there quietly for 30 seconds and ask ourselves, what the fuck just happened?
And I think what's gonna happen is like Criston Cole is gonna be on Alicent's like thumb now, and very loyal because of his betrayal. Because you know what I like about Criston Cole is when he confesses to Alicent, he's like a Mongol soldier.
He was ready to die.
He's like, please don't geld me or torture me, just chop my head off.
Just give me a clean death.
I was like, I felt sorry for the guy. I was like, my man, what the fuck? You have no self-preservation? No, but it makes sense because he's from a poor background with nothing. He's like the opposite of Littlefinger. Like they have.
That's a great point. The opposite of Littlefinger.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, this show is brilliant in the fact that it doesn't matter if your intentions are good or bad. Sometimes the consequence is the same. What I mean by that is, because he was a naive, pure guy, and he got angry, and he did something that Littlefinger will never do, which is fuck up.
Kill himself.
Yeah. I mean, his fuck up, and it's funny how we get to see his beating, but not Damon's. I think it just shows us, I think Criston Cole is just much more transparent character. I think that's what they're showing us. Because Damon is...
That's a great point.
Yeah, I was the second time I caught notice of that, I was like, if you showed us that, why can't you show us Damon bashing his wife's head? It just feels like...
It was clearly intentional.
Yeah, Criston Cole, I think, is an open book now that he confessed. Now that we all know he's a... I mean, he's a nice guy and a good fighter, but he's no political acumen whatsoever. I mean, I think some would call him like delusional, but that's not the impression I got.
But I also kind of reminded myself of Ned Stark. And I was also kind of concerned about Ser Criston Cole. I mean, he was ready to die anyways, but remember from Game of Thrones, these good people always die early?
Yeah.
So I was thinking, this Criston guy is not going to last long. But at the end, he tries to kill himself.
No, but he's not good anymore. He just beat up a minor house lord to death. And I think what's going to happen is the queen is going to protect him. Like, because... think about it. There's no way you get away with that. You cause a ruckus in front of a royal wedding and beat a minor house's lord, or maybe he's a second child, third child. I don't know the Kiss's house, whatever. But that's... and then he punched the future king consort in front of hundreds of witnesses. Like, at least your hands are gone, fool. Like, so, but I think the queen will maybe use her clout to protect him.
And eventually, like, on this imaginary chessboard, he's now going to be the pawn.
And then, but this is another mistake Rhaenyra makes. She unintentionally made the worst enemy possible. Here, just like Alicent and Rhaenyra's friendship, somebody you are close to you that betrays you makes the worst enemy. Because they know you, first of all. And secondly, it's just that much more deeper. The betrayal. But
Well, we should also mention the conversation Rhaenyra had with Ser Criston Cole and the conversation she had with Laenor, because I love the expression. We would dine as we please. What was it?
The ducks and gooses.
Yeah, ducks and goose. And once we're done with our duty, we'll dine as we fit.
No, it just goes to show Rhaenyra and the Laenor guy. They grew up in royal, like privileged houses. They're very acutely aware of the political necessity here.
But what was funny was like the conversation she has with Ser Criston Cole after that, and she's basically saying, "Yo, I have this arrangement.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm married, but you know what we can do."
No, but remember in the last episode, Damon pointed out you're out of touch with common people. I think it's just that playing out. She's too. I mean, don't get me wrong. She's not right or wrong. She's just showing her perspective, but she completely neglects how Criston Cole is taking this very seriously. And of course, in her defense, she was about to say the Targaryen family needs to be on the throne because of the Song of Ice and Fire. But Criston Cole's like, "Fuck this!" And then, but yeah, I mean, it just goes to show how these two different people have been raised completely differently, and there's this gap. And it's ironic because I felt like there's a reason why Alicent and Rhaenyra are best friends, because they understand each other. They're daughters from powerful houses, and they play the marriage function. I think Rhaenys is acutely aware of that too, except now they're enemies. So what friend do you really have? I think they're going to become really lonely people, especially Alicent, because your dad's gone.
She's all alone.
Yeah.
She needs to protect her
children.
And she's got no dragons. She doesn't have any other powerful houses on her side.
Well, her children are about to get dragons, because the Targaryen tradition is, you have to assume that they didn't mention in the show yet, but they probably had dragon eggs in their cradle too, right? And
I mean, it's going to take time to grow based on what we saw from Game of Thrones.
Right. That's true. Yeah. But anyway,
But yes, from this episode, we now kind of get a clearer picture of what the future conflict is going to be.
I mean, the lines have been getting drawn, undrawn, drawn. Now it's like,
it's only a matter of time, because now we see that the king is ailing. We can clearly see that Viserys doesn't have much time.
And Alicent saying, "Oh, stepdaughter, congratulations on this wonderful wedding," with the fuck you eyes. That was done. And I feel like Alicent betrays her, because you could argue that Rhaenyra wasn't really lying, because Criston Cole is just so left field. Out of nowhere, what? We were talking about Damon. Who the fuck is this? But I guess Alicent is just like disappointed that she wasn't honest with her. And plus, she just kicked her dad just got kicked out because of her. Because of Alicent telling Rhaenyra about the rumor, and Rhaenyra firing back.
Her side.
Yeah, but man. what?
So tell us briefly about the preview. What do you expect from the preview in the next episode?
The preview is a time jump.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're grown up now, Alicent and Rhaenyra.
Already?
And they're in the small council, and we get to see both of their children, basically.
We were already quite surprised with time jump, because we're passing through a lot of material.
So I'm sorry, Wonjin, you were wrong. If Viserys lives I'm guessing at least another 8-7 years, because the kids are grown.
And he's still alive.
Yeah, but his body is like, yeah. I mean, he looks like an old man. I don't know if he's an old man. What I'm saying is his health is definitely worse, but he's still alive. But Alicent and Rhaenyra has kids, and
Rhaenyra also got kids now.
Yeah, Rhaenyra at least have 2 sons, but they have brown hair. And there's this one line from Alicent: to have one kid like that is a mistake. To 3 is an insult to Viserys. So I think the children, remember, because of the arrangement, it's different. But the trailer indicates that the children are somehow related to Harwin Strong, that guy who rescued her, because he's shown prominently. in the trailer.
Really?
So I guess he's her new boyfriend.
Huh.
Yes.
Things are getting very complicated.
Yes. yes. No, but the trailer was interesting because Alicent is her tone. I mean, the actress has changed, so she's a grown actress.
Really?
Yeah, there's a 10-year time jump. Yeah.
But Rhaenyra is the same actress.
No, different.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yo, man, don't you watch the news? This was the poster had different.
I had no idea.
Okay.
You know, I'm like practically shut down from all news about this thing because
Okay.
I don't want to be spoiled of anything.
That's smart. But Alicent she sounds like a different person. Like she looks like the past actress, but she sounds more determined about like because the small constant scene was basically a fuck you between each other. The Stepstones are in trouble again. And Alicent says, "Oh, it's because Damon left it." And Rhaenyra's like, "Fuck you, we left it." And they look at each other like, "Fuck you." So it's clear that there's no love lost between there anymore. And then Lionel Strong is still the hand, but he's bald now a little bit. So I guess it's showing the time jump because I guess the kids need to grow up for the drama to continue. And I think we get a shot of Aegon Targaryen because there's this handsome boy with silver hair.
Oh.
He looks like a Targaryen, and that can only be Aegon because Aegon has been born the earliest among Alicent, and he looks Targaryen, and he's wearing green, his mother's color. So I think that's a hint, and I think the children. I'm pretty sure Alicent tells the bedtime story of Aegon. You're
like the ancestor Aegon.
Yeah, your ancestor came in the brought dragons. You're gonna be the king, right? Fuck your half sister, bitch. It's like every day. I love you. Sing after me. Fuck Rhaenyra, and fuck Damon. You know, you could just like the vibe I got from the trailer was her eyes are laser focused, and she's just gonna do anything in her power to make her children king. I think it makes sense though because I think there's gonna be escalating tension. Because the succession is, I think, going to be constantly challenged
So
now.
I gotta ask myself: is this gonna finish in just a single season?
No way.
Then why so many time jumps? What are they gonna cover after this?
No, but like the main war, I guess. But I guess I think they have.
Or are they gonna have like a 50-year time jump? And then remember when the episodes began, it said that this is 172 years before Daenerys. Maybe like in the second season, this is gonna be like 72 years before Daenerys. Like after 100 years since Aegon and Rhaenyra.
No. But the showrunner said this is gonna run a couple seasons. But the House of the Dragon season is gonna be like X-Files or not X-Files, but like True Detective. The series in that there's going to be a time period they cover for 3 to 4 seasons or 5, and then they're going to cover another timeline of the Targaryen dynasty. So it's like that's why the show is called House of the Dragon. So I guess, I mean, from what I see though, at least I think it's going to be at least season 3 or 4. Because, I mean, the reason why they're doing this time jump is I think they're trying to go to the Civil War called Dance of the Dragon. You know the Dance of the Dragon is mentioned in Game of Thrones by Stannis' daughter. Remember, she reads the book and says, "This is the Dance of the Dragon, Daddy." And Stannis is like, "Why is it called a dance?" It would be sad to see the old actresses leave for Rhaenyra. So this would be the last major time jump for a long time because a lot of events happen within a few years. Okay, that explains it.
Okay.
No, Rick or Mr. AKA RK, I completely agree. The actresses were fantastic. I love both actresses. They were so good. I can't believe the children actresses. I mean, I don't know if they're children, actually, teenager or semi-adult.
I've never seen them before in other shows, so they were new faces to me, and I was very pleasantly surprised that they were so good at this.
Yeah, I mean,
remember there are a lot of these like subtle details they need to express in the show, and they were very good at it.
I mean, the subtlety was really good. In this episode, like, Alicent is the best. She shows the tender side, she shows the anxiety side, she shows the queen side, and she shows the queen bitch eyes. Like, what's up, stepdaughter? Stepping in the wedding. That was really good. But if I had to choose a favorite scene, oddly, it's gonna be Corlys, Velaryon, and Rhaenys, because I've been dying to hear more about their internal dialogue for a while, but we get to see that they really love each other. Like it's such a I think that's like the most normal
functional family.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of dysfunctional families in Game of Thrones and
up to this show so far, but it seems very functional because I love Corlys's Velaryon line when Rhaenys says, "What for money, power, and sex? Justice! Fuck them motherfuckers!" And then she's like, "I got ships and dragons, bitch, and I love you. You should have been queen." That's like, that's like the most supportive husband ever. Like, no, don't you think so? And then like, I feel like they love their children too. Like, I mean, like normally,
like any normal family, they have true concerns for their children's future.
And I love how Rhaenys, even in her like small dialogues, shows how astute she is. Because when Corlys, like, I love how we get to see their family side that they don't show to the public. Because Corlys immediately says, "Rhaenys, did I go too far?" Like, that's smart because but did I overplay my card? But Rhaenys immediately does the calculation. No, he came all the way here.
He came all the way here.
It's all right. And then she washes her hand. But I love I think they showed genuine concern for the king's health because I think they were not aware of it.
Yeah.
And then it also makes sense for them to want the king to live because the king can't die right now. He needs to proclaim everything of the succession plan, and the kids need to be born, and then you can die. But there's a political need for them to keep hoping Viserys is alive.
And I love how they both have their own capacity to think strategically.
Right.
Because we rarely see this in couples.
A true partnership.
Yeah, true partnership. Either we have like a couple who are thinking completely independently, just like Cersei and Robert Baratheon. They're like two different minds. But in this case, they both have the capacity to strategize, and also they complement each other.
Right.
Yeah, it's like what Corlys missed, Rhaenys is going to cover it.
So Laenor as a character makes sense. It's so ironic that the ordinary nice guy is a gay guy in this universe, because Laenor seems like he was raised well. He's pretty, but like even Damon, usually who has nothing nice to say about anybody, says he's a good man, but he's gonna bore the fuck out of you. So what the fuck you gonna do, uncle? That's the shit cracks me up.
Slash the king's guard, kill my dad, and take me.
Because you never see other character go at Damon's face but Rhaenys looked right in the eyes and take me, bitch. Yeah.
In a language that only they understand.
Yeah. Oh, another thing we can't fail to mention is we get another rat imagery.
Oh, at the end.
Yeah, because remember in the
around the puddle of blood.
Yeah, last episode the rats were in the dragon skull of
the
Velaryon the Dread. Yeah. When Rhaenyra was walking out, so we're getting to see another rat consuming something imagery, and
I was thinking of The Departed in the end.
Oh, that's so good.
Remember the rats, like world full of rats. So maybe I was thinking it's like a symbol of a rat within the Targaryen dynasty or something. I don't know.
No, but it's just I think every house. Remember Damon's line? They're all leeches, and then Viserys himself says, "You feast, you crows come to feast on my corpses." So that's another imagery of, smaller things consuming the dragon. But I don't know though. Viserys continues to show that he, Viserys reminds me a lot of Roman emperors. We hear those stories about Nero or Caligula. I bet they're all made up. I think if you are the victor, you're suddenly an honorable dude.
Because remember, history is written by victors.
Yeah.
That's what we say all the time.
Yeah, so I think Viserys' line, "How would I be remembered?" is poignant because it goes to show a lot of what we know about old emperors and kings are fucking made up shit.
So maybe this could be a foreshadow. In the future, we're going to see the House of Targaryen fall, or like a different faction of Targaryens take over, and they change the they write history of Viserys in a very distorted view.
Well,
maybe we'll see that.
No, but rarely do a king that precedes a civil war is looked on favorably by history, whether they intended it or not. And here, we continue to see images of things getting out of control. The marriage itself is, Viserys has been saying, all I do is tourney and marriages. And he have failed in every one of them.
Damon.
No, remember the first episode? He had a tourney for his son, and then his heir and wife dies. Every time this man's tried to do something happy, something fucks up happens. And it's almost like he's cursed. And he goes to the hunting ground, and then he gets strong. Fuck this! What about dreamers? And then he steals stags. But what's ironic is the stag is not white. So it's like a clever way to show that nothing goes on as planned. And I think Viserys, and this is, I bet everybody who made fun of Viserys, like Corlys, Velaryon, and Damon, they're gonna get a reckoning. Because I bet their plan are going to not go as planned as too. Remember, the Game of Thrones lesson to us is nothing goes according to plan. Right. Tywin is like, 1,000-year legacy, baby. And then he gets shot in the belly by his son. and
After he gets caught.
Yeah, he's a corpse, and his daughter and son.
While taking a poop.
Yeah, and his daughter and son are fucking in front of his corpse. It's like the show about never plan for anything. Fuck a plan. Just wing it. But anyway, I had a thoroughly good. I think, episode 1 through 5. It's been a crescendo. I think. I bet. I think that's how they planned it. I think the finale will be the start of the Civil War. I think that's how they're gonna end up everything as a banger. This feels so much like the first season of Game of Thrones, by the way. Just a more lived-in version. Yeah. What I mean by that is the environment, the setup, the camera work. But the pillar of the story is escalation. Because Game of Thrones' first one is a murder mystery, right? Who murdered it? And then there's a conspiracy, and the conspiracy gets blown and get out of control. Here, it's what's the succession? What's going to happen? It keeps getting worse and worse.
Yeah, and like you said, the first season of Game of Thrones ends with Ned Stark being beheaded. Yeah, he loses his head, and that ignites a civil war.
Viserys dying is going to be the last episode or the 9th episode, and I think when he dies, there's going to be chaos, and that's going to be the finale. Because you can almost imagine, Viserys going, fuck this. Whatever, man. I'm leaving. Aegon, I'm going to Dragon Heaven. Because you can also see all these lords saying, sir, you have to do this, you have to do this. Shut the fuck up. I'm out of here. Peace. Yeah.
So I'm guessing that, like you said, the last episode is going to be the start of a civil war.
Yeah, I think so. Now that we have 5 episodes and the trailer, it feels like, but I do want to see more dragons though. And I still continue to want to see more
dragon
magic
versus dragon battle we've been looking for. Where is it?
Another thing I forgot to mention is, what's up with the werewood? That red tree that
the one that's crying blood.
Yeah, we're getting the most private scenes just there. And Lionel and Alicent there, it's like, what I think that tree represents, like a confessional. Because every time we go to a scene like that, we hear lies or truth.
Yeah, and that's where Ser Criston was trying to kill himself.
Yeah. So, I want to say that. What's up with that? Are they setting up something? I feel like that tree is where...
And another question is, why would anybody want to go near that tree? It's creepy as hell.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
It's supposed to symbolize the old gods.
It's a tree with a face. That's crying blood. Why would you ever want to spend time around it?
Hey man, remember this is a world where dragons are flying around. Hey Johnny, I saw the dragon. Is that the queen coming back? The princess? That's like their limousine or Air Force One. Oh shit, who's here? For the common people, they're like they're different from Game of Thrones. They're like, is that a fucking dragon? Here they're like, oh queen.
There she goes.
Oh, there she goes. Is that the gold one? they probably have a tourist section for the dragons. Right this way, Velaryon, High Velaryon, and that's the healthy income of the kingdom. No, but the werewood scene is interesting because I feel like they're building up to something there. I feel like we're gonna see some blood magic there, or some, because it's always where the truth of things are tested, I guess. Because it's the first place we see Rhaenyra and Alicent. Not the first place. Or one of the first places, because they're in there, the friendship. And then there
We
where's the
also
lie.
saw them there as like queen and princess.
No, but the only people who've been there is Alicent, Rhaenyra, and Criston Cole. One of the main characters. It's like a love triangle thing. I don't think Alicent and Criston Cole are in love or anything. I'm just saying there's a weird dynamic there of continuing to show their ups and downs near that tree.
I never imagined that, but like the moment Alicent did this, Criston Cole, I was getting this weird vibe.
No, but like I like Alicent's whole thing is that she's a good girl, right? So I don't think she might have a boyfriend later after Viserys dies, but I don't think so. Like, but Rhaenyra has a thing for bad boys. I think. I think it's very clear that she has a type. And Damon fits that type, like a warrior, bloody, whatever. And Lionel is the opposite of that type, it seems. He's a good fighter and all, but I don't know. It's just something I wanted to bring up because it's interesting that there's a werewood in at the King's Landing. It's like I guess they're keeping the tradition, whatever. Because remember, the Blackwood are the oldest. The boy who killed the other guy. I think there will be more mentions of old gods and old houses here, because in the hunting scene, it's like before dragons came, this was the tradition. So I think there's always this conflict between the new culture, which is Targaryen. I mean, they've been hundreds of years, but there's still deep-rooted cultural things that's going on.
Yeah, we only hear brief stories of this in the Game of Thrones. What were they called? Like the first
men and the children of the forest. No, but we get to see them throwing like magic grenades and stuff. Remember, and the crow. So that's just something I was interested in. Hey, thank you, Rick, for participating in our live discussion. I think that about wraps it up. Any final thoughts?
Well, so far I enjoyed these 5 episodes very thoroughly. And it's kind of washing off the stench of season 8 of Game of Thrones.
Oh man!
And now I'm getting my hopes up because before this began, all I could think of was season 8 of Game of Thrones. I was thinking, okay, they're gonna mess this thing up just like the last season of Game of Thrones, or they're gonna do a tremendous job. But it turns out to turns out to be the latter. The scripts are very tight. I can see that there's been a lot of thought that went into this, and I think the script writers were just as aware of the fiasco of the last season. So I think you mentioned it. I think the studio is giving them enough time to make sure that this is the best work they could do.
But I also want to say, for every series, season 1 is usually the strongest, with some exceptions. Like Breaking Bad or Sopranos are actually the outliers. Most shows, season 1,
they get better.
Yeah. Most shows though. So let's just say we're cautiously optimistic, and let's do a season wrap up when we get all 10 seasons. Okay. Anyway. That's it for today. Thank you for joining our live discussion. RK, please subscribe, and we talk about movies and videos every week. We are watching Andor. We are watching Suriname. If you want us to discuss a certain series, please leave a like and comment. This was JoeJinMovieSoAwesome. I was Joe.
I was One Jin.
We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.